Election season is in full swing right now in New Jersey, and the candidates, well, they're out trying to convince you to give them your vote. Knowing their platform, of course, that's very important. But equally as important is knowing the person behind the candidate. Hi, I'm Racquel Williams, and Beasley Media New Jersey is proud to present to you Coffee with the Candidates. We put politics aside, for the most part, peel back the layers, and get to know the person behind the candidate. Oh, and of course, it all happens over a cup of coffee. So pour yourself one and enjoy. And we're now joined by Assemblywoman Yvonne Lopez. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank
you. You live in Perth Amboy.
I do.
Were you born and raised here in New Jersey?
I was born and raised in Perth Amboy. Two sisters, one brother. My dad was a real estate investor, and so he would purchase homes, rehab, and sell. Oh. So we moved 6 times in Perth Amboy.
Oh, wow. All in Perth Amboy.
All in Perth Amboy. So he was initially, he was considered like the house flipper in Perth Amboy. Mm-hmm. But that gave me a good opportunity to really get to know a lot of young kids and, you know, from every corner of Perth Amboy. So when I got to high school, I probably knew about 75% of the kids there. Yeah.
Okay. So you were the oldest?
I'm the eldest. I'm the eldest.
The eldest
yes.
of the 3. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you got to boss your siblings
Absolutely.
around.
No, I had a lot of responsibility with them as well, because both my mom and my dad worked. So when I came home from school, I was the one that was cooking for the kids and cleaning the house and helping them with homework, and then taking them to the Lucy Center Park. I don't know if you know where that's at, but it's located in Perth Amboy. Okay. And then bring them back home. Then my mom would come home, and yeah, so I had a lot of responsibility with my brother and my sisters. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you've been married, I think, about 4 years at this point, right?
Oh, how do you know that?
I know.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my second marriage. Yes. Yeah.
Is your husband supportive of your career? Because sometimes there might be a thing where, oh, well, she has too much power, or I have a some men may have a problem with women in positions of power. How about your husband?
So proud of me. He's 100,000% has my back. Mm-hmm. He's just so proud of me. He's always and when we sit at the table when we're having dinner, this is what we talk about. We talk about politics. We talk about his role at the state now, and I think I married the best man ever. Aww, really.
That's great.
We've been married 4 years, dating 10 years, and he adores my mom, and I adore his mom. Actually, my mom was over for dinner last night, and as she was leaving, he calls her Pelosi, I'm sorry, right? Mm-hmm. And she says, Pelosi, please don't leave me. And she says, oh, no, I have to go home, So my mom visits like 3 or 4 times a week for dinner, yeah.
How did he propose?
Okay, so make a long story short. Both of us, neither one of us wanted to get married again. So we were living together. And we went on this beautiful romantic cruise on the Windstar. Mm. Came back home, and we were in the kitchen talking, and he looked at me and said, Yvonne, please marry me. And I said, no. I did. So I turned around, and as I'm looking back, he had his head on the table, and I turned around, went over to him, and hugged him. I said, I'm going to marry you. And we got married in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
It was very private. It was on the pier in Perth Amboy. My brother was the best man, and my mom was there with me, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but we both did not want to get married, but found that we had so much love for each other, so much affection for each other, and we really trusted each other. So we got married 4 years ago, yeah.
So when not crafting legislation or sponsoring legislation, what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
I love to cook.
Oh, okay. Another one in the kitchen.
I love to cook, and we love to travel. Yeah, we love to travel. So we have, because of pandemic, we were not able to travel last year, but we used to go away 2 or 3 times a year. Oh. And I have to tell you that every time we travel, we bump into people from New Jersey. Wow. Always, yeah. Whether we're in Italy or we go to Cabo San Lucas or Aruba, there are always folks there from New Jersey. Yeah, always.
Do you still design clothes? You're wondering, where did she get all this information? Tell me about that situation, how that all came about, and if you're still doing that.
Okay, so, I took 4 years of home economics in high school, and loved designing clothes. So my mom had a sewing machine. I would go to Woolworths and on Smith Street in Perth Amboy and buy patterns and fabric and zippers and buttons and elastics. And for 4 years, I designed my own clothes, and I even designed clothes for my friends who were going to proms and made coats for them. And no, I don't have time for that anymore. I don't have time for that anymore. I'm so busy. It's just, you know, I always say to people that if you're doing this line of work, you know, public service work,
Right.
If you're doing it the right way, it's a full-time job. And honestly, I'm permeated like from 7 in the morning to like 9, 10 o'clock at night, just supporting my constituents. My staff, they get a little annoyed with me because they always say, why do you give your phone number out? You shouldn't be giving your phone number out.
Let us handle your personal number
I
out.
do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. So it's all day texting and calling and emails, yeah. And I know they get really upset with me, but that's who I am because I do.
Don't apologize for it, right.
I have been in public service for over 30 years. And I give a lot of, I'm very grateful to my former employer. I had a 20-year career in banking, and I was the vice president of philanthropy and community relations. And my geography was New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And that really put me on a trajectory, on a journey for where I am today.
Okay.
You know, I left banking in 2007, and then I left Perth Amboy also, by the way, in my 20s, and I lived in East and North Brunswick for about 30 years. So when I was in North Brunswick, I served on the zoning board there. I was a member of the Democratic organization there, and then I get a call from Perth Amboy about coming back to the city so that I could head up the Puerto Rican Association for Human Development, which was faltering, right? And when I got to Perth Amboy, I decided, okay, I'm going to move back. I'm going to stay here because this is a really full-time job as well. I was working 7 days a week, and we had 80 employees and 10 programs. And midway between, I guess back in 2017, I was approached about running for office. I'm not going to say who, but I was approached about running for office. And I really had to give that a lot of thought because I had to make a choice between my day job and doing this. Because again, this is a full-time job.
Right.
And so I made the choice to run for office so that I would have the opportunity to better represent my constituents in my district and the state of New Jersey. And also, so I had the opportunity to create legislation that would address the issues that were impacting our communities, like food insecurity, as Speaker Coughlin spoke earlier, about affordable housing. You know, even with our kids, you know, we have so many kids who, you know, don't want to go to college, don't have the affordability to go to college. And I was a big fan of the trades, especially vocational schools and apprenticeship programs. And so, yeah, that's my story, you know. And here I am today, representing 19th District with wonderful running mates,
Right.
Speaker Coughlin and Senator Vitale. They're both wonderful men, wonderful men.
Okay. What would you say has been your biggest accomplishment as Assemblywoman?
My work in social justice right now. So I'll make a long story short. So when I was elected into office, my platform was very broad. It was around, you know, seniors and economic development and, you know, helping our youth. And literally 3 weeks after I was sworn in, I received a call from Senator Booker's office asking me if I would be open to introducing legislation that had to do with women in prison, right? And how do I say no to Senator Booker, right?
Right.
So that took me on a journey for 2 years. So I started to meet with former inmates and families from of individuals who are incarcerated, and with advocates and with social justice attorneys, and that prompted the passage of the, let me make sure I have this name correct, okay? The Dignity for Incarcerated Primary Caretakers Parents Act. What does that mean? And actually that law today that was enacted in 2020, January 2020, it is the most incredible prison oversight law in the nation right now. It's the strongest one, by the way. And I took that to a whole different level, because I know with Senator Booker, he was actually, he was introducing legislation at a federal level, but it wasn't really going anywhere at the time. And it was more around having access to free hygienic products for women in jail. Okay. And also extended visitation rights with their children. So we took it to a whole different level. And so today, the parents who are incarcerated, they need to be closer to where their children have residential addresses, right? Women do now receive free hygienic products. We have, drug treatment counseling, parents education classes, just a load of different services. And I would tell you that 85% of the women who are incarcerated, they come from trauma, either from domestic violence or from being sexually abused. And then they're put in a position where they're traumatized again. Because you heard about all the stories at Mahan, really reprehensible, right? Yeah. And we worked really hard on this bill, and I'm really, really delighted that the governor enacted this into law in January 2020. Because of the pandemic, we were unable to, for a little while there, because we were so focused on pandemic-related bills. So now we're in a position where the women are in a safer place. The governor is going to be closing the Mahan facility. Right. And I'm really proud of the work that we did for the state of New Jersey. So I hope that we're an example for the nation with this bill that we created.
Do you feel that the Latinx community is adequately represented in local and state government?
I would tell you that in the legislature, county, and local government entities, we're diverse, but we have room. Sure. We have room to grow, and I look forward towards that growth as well. And I would tell you that I want to talk about the census a little bit too, sure. Right? Because as a complete count census commissioner and a strong 2020 census advocate, I'm really proud of the work that New Jersey did, especially with the numbers, right? So for the first time in 30 years, we did not lose a seat in the House of Representatives. And for the first time in 30 years, we boosted a 69.5% self-response rate, which is amazing. And today, and New Jersey's much more diverse as well. 45% of our population is African American, Asian, and Latino. And yes, do we have work to do? We absolutely do. And we'll continue that. And I want to give Speaker Coughlin credit, because he always has that diversity lens on, right? So whenever there's a vacancy, whether it's on a state commission or board, he always comes to us, the Latino Caucus, and to the Black Caucus as well, to say, submit resumes, please, so that we have, and it's not just anyone, but you want someone who's qualified for those positions. So I want to give him a lot of kudos for that. Thank you, Craig. Okay. No, he is. He's an amazing champion for diversity.
And finally, what are some of the issues that you would like to tackle if everyone is successful in November?
So I would really want to stay focused on post-COVID recovery.
Oh, okay.
Especially childcare. We have such an issue with childcare right now. We have an issue with teachers not coming back to school. We have staffing shortages. Yes. I want to support our small businesses. Again, they're going through a heck of a time right now because they don't have the staff. So I don't know. I was like at the barge last week. And literally, the owner of the barge was sweating because he only had 2 staff people there, and typically he has 10 or 15. And I went to Casa Giuseppe's for my birthday, and they were saying they're closed 3 days a week because they just don't have the staffing available. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want to focus on: childcare and rebuilding our economy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Assemblywoman Lopez, thank you so much.
Oh no, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Luck.
Such a pleasure to meet you finally. Thank you. Thank you so much.